So there was this Reddit thread today called I Know Why Filian is Gone. It's for a very boring reason. TLDR so the government doesn't dox her. And it says, mod, while speculative, you may remove this post if you feel divulging this info could be legally detrimental to Filian. Well, says, I don't watch Filian or any streamers for that matter. I just happened to come upon Drumsy's latest video, and I'm fairly certain I have the exact answer as to why she has done it in this specific way and for this long. This Drumsy video is, I started watching it actually. He's like a very popular YouTuber. I didn't know who he was. And his video is My Friend is Missing, and he talks about how he rage baited her in the days following her missing or something. Someone previously brought up her pending trademark and have some additional information to share regarding that. It was filed on December 19th, very shortly after her last stream on December 7th. So, I am an anonymous online creator with a camera-facing persona. I highly value privacy. I'm not a lawyer, but I have spoken to a trademark attorney about this exact issue for my own brand and business, so I've run into the issue I believe she's currently facing. Why did Filian go dark? And if the content on her account shows that the name Filian is a nickname that refers to a living person, she would be mandated by the USPTO to get a naming consent form from that living person, her IRL self, to give permission to the brand, which is also herself, to use the name. I know, it's stupid. This form requires her to put her full legal name on it, and it is public record. Anyone can access it, there's no way to hide it, and there's no legal workaround to avoid revealing that information. Isn't that weird though? That's a weird way to go about it. Well, except for one, he adds, adjusting how your platform is viewed by the public. Oh, US Patent and Trademark Office is the USPTO? Okay, thank you. If the public no longer views a word mark such as Filian to be representative of a person, but rather a non-existent entity or an unidentifiable person, then it may no longer be considered a living person and the form would no longer be necessitated. I reviewed her trademark application, and this theory is further supported by the fact that a name consent was not provided, which normally would be required. Application form for Filian. Oh, this Michelle K. Robichaud, that's the same person that's made Saba's trademark. Yeah, this entire law firm, Auden Law, and this person, they're the ones who made Saba's trademark as well. But then how did Saba not have this problem? Like, how did any of the VTubers that have this trademark not have this problem? So she took her content down for this reason, so that this nickname can be identified as a word that refers to her, an individual. The USPTO reviews social media accounts during this process. To verify this, the USPTO must see Filian as a standard word mark and not a pseudonym / nickname, or else they will request a naming consent form, which would in turn result in her surrendering her privacy over to the internet, and therefore could make her a potential doxing target. This is why VTubers can't trademark their names, but people like Markiplier, Mark Fishback can do. His name's already public. Saba is not based on her real name. Yeah, but Filian neither. It's not based on her real name. They're saying it could be a name. Couldn't Saba be a name too? Trademark takes upward of 18 to 15 months to clear, and that if the process is smooth. We don't know when she'll be back, and neither does she. You can thank the government for that. How could a trademark be this important? Trademarks aren't only for selling merch and stuff, they protect you and your brand in other ways. If someone else were to file a trademark for her name, they could potentially force her to change her socials, for instance. Going dark provides the greatest chance for it to be approved without having to divulge this critical piece of private information. So with all that being said, Filian can be Filian because Filian is lost. This feels like a likely theory. I mean, maybe it could be true. It's interesting for sure. Is this the reason why she's gone? This person says nonsense. Nickname is not important. She did alt names before for joke streams and could have used any of those or derivatives if she got quote-dunked by this trademark shit. I think she was in Canada at one point instead. Trademarking the original does give a lot of leverage for going after impersonators and for creating a separate legal entity. In some countries that can be used the trademark name without exposing the owner of the name. I love this theory, and I'm not going to claim any expertise here, but you can trademark your name if you delete your online existence for 8 to 15 months. Doesn't seem like a compelling argument to a woman who was winging it for years with a character model she didn't even own. I also don't believe that this is an unsolvable legal problem. Filian can trademark Filian merely through making a creative work like an animated short, can't she? Mickey Mouse isn't a real person and he's trademarked, right? Or copyrighted to the point nobody can legally step in and say I deserve MickeyMouse.com, not Disney. The Saba trademark was set up before Gura left Holo? Yeah, but it was renewed recently too. I guess you could say I guess the same argument could apply that she's missing. Okay, but let's think about another VTuber that hasn't been missing. What about Iron Mouse? Or I'm pretty sure every single big VTuber has a trademarked name, no? The mouse was around before the law, so grandfathered in. I think it's also different if a company does it for you. Like Hololive will do it for their VTubers, so they don't have to put their real names in. But then like any of these VTubers could also get an LLC and then, I don't know, and then file the name under their LLC, no? I don't know how this worked enough to comment on this. But for sure, Filian is incorporated. For sure. The problem is that you still need a person to sign the government form for copyright and trademarks to do it that way. And that person, Filian case, would need to be either Filian or a company acting on Filian's stead. Even with the creative work, you need a name put on the copyrighted/trademarked work. Names are trademarked, not copyright. So then why not make a company like most other large indie VTubers have? That's my question. So this person also says, honestly, I wasn't on board with the whole trademark theory, but with some other documents, I found you may be right. I'm not going to share them since I now realize how sensitive the information in them is, but it definitely lends some credence to your post. This guy is just edging us with this information, but it sort of convinced me. But maybe it's just somebody speaking confidently on the internet. Have you considered things like this in the event you popped off in similarly one day? Well, I think for me, it's more of a steady, slow climb because I'm not very big on collabs and stuff. I'm mostly known through my videos, but I haven't thought about it actually until now. I guess one day I will have to think about trademarks and LLCs and all of that. Honestly, I haven't thought about it yet. Maybe I should. Depends how much it costs. I know it doesn't feel right. Why risk ruining your brand with an unknown length hiatus? You're right, Apton, to bring this up. This long hiatus is definitely gonna hurt her brand. I mean, she's definitely not gonna be generating as much income during that time, and it seems like an expensive promotional campaign. Still doesn't explain why she goes dead silent even to her friends, right? Wait, you're right. That's true. Maybe she just really doesn't want anything to leak. Maybe there are certain friends she still talked to, like Chacha. It sounds like she was still in contact with Chacha, because she was saying, oh, she's doing all right. She's doing all right, trust. Yeah, she deleted everything, but with this theory, it would make sense why she deleted everything, because they need to think that you're lost, or that you're an object, or that you're not a content creator, like you're not a person. But it sounds very extreme. I don't think that's an issue, since especially for VTubers, they are more akin to virtual characters rather than the likeness of an actual person. Plenty of other VTubers have filed trademarks anonymously. Saba, Iron Mouse, Code Miko. They all have filed trademarks through third-party lawyers. Her disappearance is likely entirely unrelated to the trademark application. Oh, this is the OP of the post responding. I definitely want to look more into the specifics, but Saba Sameko's trademark application was filed May 2025 and is still pending. That is true, we did verify that in our Discord server. Iron Mouse applied last month and is pending, and Code Miko's real name is known, and hers is live and registered. Well, since Iron Mouse applied last month and is pending, I mean, she's still streaming though. So, unless I'm missing something, and I very well could be, even if Code Miko's name is otherwise known, she still didn't have to get a naming consent form and still use a third-party lawyer for the trademark. She would have remained anonymous otherwise, and her application already went through and was registered. That's true, but I also remembering now that Code Miko, rather the person who controls Code Miko, refers to herself as the technician, so maybe this separation allows her to be legally distinct from the character Code Miko. I don't really follow VTubers, but I like to try and find more examples of non-agency indie VTubers who have applied to see if any of them actually got through the process and have any live registered trademark while remaining anonymous. For sure, Iron Mouse already has a trademark. It's probably pending because she had to reapply for it. There's no way she spent that long without a trademark. But Saba and Iron Mouse have both streamed since their application were filed. Wouldn't they have the same issue if your theory is true? Yes, that's what I'm wondering too. Yes, even more so than her since they're both active. I think there's a chance if you can convincingly make an argument to the USPTO that you are not you and rather a voice actor performing a character that the public happens to view as an entirely separate entity from you. or a character from a larger work of fiction, then maybe there's a chance. But as I discussed with my own attorney, this is unlikely and likely would not be seen as an argument made in good faith, which would likely result in your application being turned down. Wouldn't she still face the problem of other people using the name Filian, especially given that it's a family name? There's other businesses that use it, like Filian Brothers. Trademarks are divided by their categories or rather their class. You can be granted a similar name to another brand if there's evidence to prove that you also don't compete in the same space like Delta Airlines and Delta Faucet. The main purpose of trademarking is to avoid brand confusion and protect your business identity. I don't know, man. What do you guys think? Is this the real reason why Filian is gone? It's a very boring reason if that's the case. But that person who made her trademark, you know, that Michelle Robbo, she's filed tons of trademarks. She's done Code Miko's trademark. She did Saba's trademark. She's worked with VTubers before. She knows the steps. She's probably been around, so it's hard for me to be convinced that for some reason it'd be different for Filian. I looked into that woman, into that lawyer agency, when I did my research for the Saba video. Oh, hey, Fiznam. Really hope she returns soon. That sounds like a headache. Yeah, it really does. I really wonder why she's gone. Drumsy is still probably in contact with her, besides suspiciously skimming over a lot of the ARG. He claims he made his shirt, and the Filian his lost site has proof other streamers had the same shirt. Yes, I've seen other people with the shirt, and we watched a short of a guy getting handed a shirt. So he made his own shirt. What else does Drumsy say in his video? Filian is gonna come back like, this is how I fooled the internet. True. Drumsy's ARG summary is extremely bad, possibly rage bait. Is it that bad? I have not watched a video. I don't buy it. Why do the wall and tease a return and drag that out if she is involved in a lengthy process where she can't return until it's done and she doesn't know when it's done? Good point. She'd need to at least have some idea of the deadline. He ignores the fact that Filian herself launched the ARG. He thinks it's all fan-made? He generally almost gets everything wrong? How is that possible? The VTuber community losing its two largest EN VTubers roughly at the same time is insane. Yeah, but in ecosystems like this, like the gap gets filled pretty fast. Are the rats real? I don't know. Chat is not totally buying it, but it's one of the best. It's kind of one of the best explanations we had so far. The problem is that no one here is trademarks and copyrights are extremely complicated, like patents, all of that. Whenever I speak to a lawyer, and I know a couple of lawyers in my family, none of them even want to like answer me, or they just say like you need like a specific course, you need specific training for that. Like lawyers that do trademarks, they only do trademarks, they do nothing else. So not a lot of people are really knowledgeable in this kind of information. It's kind of hard to find. Yeah, even the lawyers don't want to talk about it. Maybe it's both their brandings because of the trademark and she's getting the rebrand trademarked ahead of time. Maybe she'll come out with a new model, but then why wouldn't it be like ready ahead of time? Why didn't she commission it before? Why delete all your channel? Why wipe everything? We still got more questions than answers. Hey, you! Don't forget to like and subscribe and hit that bell button. And I'll see you in the next video.